Just 1 year ago, the Washington Commanders were buried beneath the weight of mediocrity. A team many had written off, stuck in a never-ending cycle of failure, quarterback controversies, and front office blunders. The stadium echoed with more disappointment than hope. And yet, here we are. 1 year later, and everything has changed. At the heart of this sudden transformation stands a rookie quarterback few believed would truly move the needle in his first season, Jayden Daniels. But he didn't just move the needle, he broke it. How did a single draft pick take a forgotten franchise and flip its destiny in under 12 months? How did Jayden Daniels pull off one of the most electrifying rookie campaigns the NFL has seen in years? And more importantly, are we witnessing the rise of not just a star, but a savior for the Commanders? This is the story of how a team went from worst to contenders, all because of one man's fearless belief in himself and a franchise's willingness to bet everything on him. The storm before the calm, Washington's long-standing struggles. Before the turnaround, there was the chaos. For over a decade, the Washington Commanders were the poster child for dysfunction. Coaching changes, locker room drama, fan unrest, and poor draft decisions plagued the franchise year after year. Even when glimmers of hope appeared, like promising defensive talent or brief winning streaks, they were quickly extinguished by inconsistency and instability. The quarterback position, in particular, was a revolving door. From aging veterans to underperforming draft picks, no one could lead Washington out of the abyss. The arrival of new ownership under Josh Harris in 2023 was supposed to mark a fresh start, but few expected immediate results. The 2023 season ended with Washington near the bottom of the standings once again. But while the outside world saw another failure, the Commanders were quietly preparing to make the most important decision in franchise history. The draft night gamble selecting Jayden Daniels. Heading into the 2024 NFL Draft, Washington held the number 2 overall pick. The consensus top prospect was USC's Caleb Williams, but he was off the board when the Bears picked first. The Commanders were now on the clock, staring down a franchise-defining moment. With multiple quarterbacks still available, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, and others, Washington shocked many by selecting LSU's Jayden Daniels. While Daniels had won the Heisman and put up eye-popping numbers, some analysts questioned whether his play style would translate to the NFL. He was mobile, aggressive, and willing to take deep shots. But would that hold up against NFL defenses? The Commanders didn't hesitate. They believed Daniels wasn't just a quarterback. He was a culture shift, a leader, a playmaker, and maybe, just maybe, their long-awaited answer. Building a team around a rookie leader. Unlike some franchises that throw rookies into chaotic situations, Washington took a different approach. Head coach Dan Quinn and offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury developed a system designed to maximize Daniels' strengths while easing his transition into the pros. The front office made sure the offensive line was reinforced. They brought in veteran talent to mentor Daniels and gave him reliable targets downfield. The wide receiver room, led by Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson, quickly developed chemistry with the young quarterback. On defense, the Commanders didn't sit idle either. They invested heavily in shoring up their secondary and improving their pass rush. The message was clear. This wasn't a rebuild, it was a reboot. With Daniels as the engine and the roster taking shape around him, the Commanders entered the 2024 season not as favorites, but as the league's biggest unknown. The season that stunned the NFL, from week 1 it was evident something had changed. Jayden Daniels didn't look like a rookie. He looked like a veteran who had been waiting for this moment his entire life. His command of the huddle, pre-snap reads, and pocket awareness were beyond his years. And when the play broke down, that's when Daniels was at his most dangerous. His legs extended drives. His deep ball punished secondaries. His fearlessness inspired the locker room. Game after game, the Commanders shocked more experienced opponents. A narrow win over Dallas, a dominant performance against the Giants, a fourth-quarter comeback against Miami, and through it all, Daniels was the constant. He wasn't just playing quarterback, he was leading a movement. As the season wore on, whispers turned into roars. The Commanders were for real. And Jayden Daniels? He was being mentioned in the same breath as legends during their rookie years. Statistics that speak louder than words. By season's end, Daniels had rewritten the rookie record books. Over 4,000 passing yards, 28 touchdown passes, 700 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, a 67% completion rate, and a QBR that rivaled the league's elite. But it wasn't just about the numbers, it was how he got them. Daniels showed up in clutch moments. He converted third and longs with his legs, improvised under pressure, and never backed down from the spotlight. Analysts who once doubted him now praised his poise, his vision, and his unique blend of athleticism and intelligence. Opposing defenses began game planning specifically for him and still couldn't stop him. The Commanders' offense, once predictable and sluggish, became one of the most dynamic in the league, and their defense fed off the momentum, forcing turnovers and locking down leads. Washington didn't just sneak into playoff contention, they kicked the door down. The locker room effect, changing the culture. Perhaps Jayden Daniels' greatest impact wasn't statistical, it was cultural. The Washington locker room, once filled with frustration and apathy, had been transformed. Veterans spoke about Daniels' work ethic and humility. Coaches admired his film study and hunger to improve. Teammates rallied behind him, not just because of his talent, but because of his belief in them. Daniels brought swagger back to the franchise, not arrogance, but confidence. And with every win, the locker room tightened. Mistakes weren't met with finger-pointing, but with accountability. Players held each other to higher standards. The team became a brotherhood, and Daniels was its heartbeat. What this means for Washington's future. The Commanders didn't just find a quarterback, they found a direction. Jayden Daniels is more than a playmaker. He's a foundation. And as the franchise heads into its next chapter, the possibilities feel endless. With young stars stepping up, coaching stability, and an ownership group fully invested in winning, Washington is no longer the laughingstock of the NFC. They're a team that can make serious noise in the playoffs, and if Daniels continues on his current trajectory, we may be looking at an MVP candidate sooner rather than later. The NFL is starting to take notice. What was once seen as a risky pick has now become a league-wide warning. Underestimate Jayden Daniels and the Commanders at your own peril. 12 months ago, no one would have believed this. That the Washington Commanders, yes, those Commanders, would rise from the ashes of irrelevance and become playoff threats. That a slender, dual-threat quarterback from LSU would come into the NFL and flip a franchise on its head. But that's exactly what Jayden Daniels has done. This isn't just a hot streak. It's not a fluke. It's the beginning of something massive. And if history has taught us anything, it's that greatness doesn't always announce itself. It explodes onto the scene, rewriting narratives and shattering ceilings. Jayden Daniels isn't just the future of the Commanders, he might be the future of the entire NFL. The league has been put on notice, the rookie has arrived, and he's just getting started. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Jayden Daniels and the rise of the Washington Commanders, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Subscribe for more in-depth NFL stories, player spotlights, and game-changing moments from around the league. And make sure to turn on notifications so you never miss a video when it drops. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.